Good evening. Welcome to Odd Jobs, the show about occupations. We have an incredible guest tonight. We have Tom Tankelewicz here with us to talk to us about his profession. Good evening, Tom. Thanks for coming on.
I appreciate you having me on, Nick. It's a pleasure being on your show. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So tell us, what do you do?
So my current job is I'm the director of basketball operations at UNC Greensboro for the men's basketball program. The job somewhat entails quite a bit, and it's much different than what most people think of college basketball. When you see the fancy suits on the sidelines and people coaching the NCAA tournament, man, that's probably about 2 to 3% of the job.
Okay.
There's a whole lot of things that go on behind the scenes with budgets, travel, making sure your players are in class, checking their classes, having good relationships with administration. There's a whole lot of things that go into the job that don't show itself on the basketball court. So that's kind of the role that I'm currently in on Coach Miller's staff.
Gosh. So what type of things help you, like prerequisites, or what type of things help you to prepare for a role like this?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I'll tell you what, I never thought I'd be a director of basketball operations. I always had a immense, I just wanted to play basketball all the time. I wanted to be around the game whenever I could be. And I've played it since I was 7 or 8, played in high school, played through college, played a bit professionally in Europe. And I always loved the basketball side of things. And I guess to get into what I want to do, which is be an assistant coach, college coach, or college head coach, there's some hurdles and steps that you have to get over. So I actually started as a graduate assistant. After playing, I was in a sales role for a little bit, missed basketball like crazy, thought about it every day while I was at my desk. I doodled down plays, and I started coaching a youth AAU team of 7th, 8th, 9th graders, and just absolutely fell in love with assembling a team and trying to teach your principles and what you value on the basketball court to a group of young people, and watching them take that plan and progress and grow. So that kind of made my passion for basketball turn from playing to organizing and coaching.
Right.
So I got really fortunate to get on a tremendous staff at UNCG with the tutelage of Coach Miller.
Right.
And became a graduate assistant, where my responsibilities were, hey, you're going to practice every single day, just like you're a player. You're going to have administrative work, which may be like reimbursements and planning travel. And you're going to be the guy's go-to man for player development. So you're going to be on the court instructing the players on their skill workouts every single day. So, I mean, for me, that was a dream job. That was phenomenal, unbelievable. And then I was also doing a ton of the video work.
Right.
So film has become such an essential part of college basketball, and I fell in love with that. And that's been a blessing in my life, just to continue to learn and grow with the use of film.
Gosh. So what was it like playing in Europe?
So I played in Kosovo, which a lot of people don't know is part of the former Yugoslavia, the Eastern Bloc. And man, it was a tremendous experience, just because that was really my first time leaving the United States and seeing how other people live. And man, to just go see a different view of life from someone else's lens, it really put it into perspective how fortunate and lucky I was up to that point, with what I was given, the access to education, the access to adequate food. They don't quite have that in that part of the world. So that really opened my eyes up to that type of thing.
Gosh. So tell us, through your journey, when was there a certain aha moment where you knew that your current role was going to be the next step in your journey?
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, like I said, started coaching AAU, that was the aha moment. Like, hey, man, I have to do this for a living. Like, there's nothing that gets my juices going, gets my blood boiling quite like basketball, whether it's practice, games, workouts. Like, I haven't been able to get that experience from anything else in the world. So I knew I had to be around basketball. But when I got on coach's staff as a GA, I just wanted to be the best GA possible.
Right.
So I wanted to have the best workouts for our players, I wanted to have the best film edits for our players. And I didn't always have that. I mean, that was part of the growth process to get to that level, but I had good people around me. And the natural evolution from a graduate assistant, unless you're super fortunate, is to go to the director of operations role. So I had some opportunities to leave UNC Greensboro and take assistant jobs elsewhere at a lower level, but I believe in what we're doing so much at UNCG, and I trust Coach Miller. I trust our staff, and we have the backing of our administration. And on top of that, I think we've assembled a roster of not just really good players, but really good kids as well, really good young men that enjoy the process of growing and improving every single day. And I didn't want to leave that. So the natural evolution was to slide into that operations role, and I was fortunate to get that on Coach Miller's staff.
What has it been like with UNCG being so successful and on such an upswing over the past few years?
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, I've been really fortunate for the timing that I came in, but the year before I got here, 2015-16, it was their first postseason run. They made the CIT. That would have been Deontay Baldwin's junior year, Francis Alonso sophomore year, two tremendous players. And so they honestly, what it was told to me is they got sick of losing.
Right.
And UNCG had a losing record for a handful of years, where Coach Miller was the interim head coach and the full-time head coach. And it took a group of guys that were really committed to each other and committed to the process of growth and improving every single day. And that started with Deontay Baldwin, who's a local kid, a High Point kid. And he was just sick and tired of losing. So he held his teammates to a different standard.
Right.
And that standard became what we're doing in practice every day, what we're doing in the weight room, how we're handling ourselves in the classroom. And that somewhat changed the program. So when I came in 2016-17, that culture, that standard for how we practice was already in place. And it was really cool to see how that's evolved year in, year out. And that standard started here, and it just grows and grows and grows. And I mean, it's a credit to our players that they've been able to take that leadership that they've experienced when they're younger and impart it on the younger guys that come into the program as they become sophomores and juniors and upperclassmen.
Right.
So I think just that process, that growth mindset, the Carol Dweck book, we talk about it as a team all the time. Just every day we're trying to improve a little bit. And I give all the credit to Deontay, Nick Paulus, Kale Locke. Those guys set the tone for what our program is now.
Gosh. So give us what a typical day looks like for you, if there is one.
Man, well, right now I don't know I don't know if anything is typical with COVID-19 and everything that's going on in the world, but generally, for me, I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna try to read right away.
Okay.
Normally, it's a basketball centric book or a leadership development book. Those are kind of my niches. That's what I like to read on. That's interesting to me. From there, I mean, I'm at home, I'm going to make breakfast, or my fiance, Nicole, will make breakfast. And then I'll start like knocking out emails from the night before, or if possible, I want to watch film during that time. Sure. I think it's really important to try to stay up on developments in the basketball world, what people are doing differently. So I try to take that morning time and read and work on my personal development. And then mid-morning, 10:30 or so, we'll meet as a staff and we'll discuss anything you can possibly think of, Nick, from recruiting to where a guy's going to live next season. All that stuff goes into place. And then from there, it's just trying to sort out what we're going to do next year, how we're going to operate next year.
Right.
With budgets. I mean, budgets have become essential in anything you're doing now because of coronavirus. So that's been a lot of my time recently, is how we can work to manage our budget the most efficient way possible. And then throughout the day, I'm trying to find bits and pieces of time where I can watch film and try to generate ideas and how to make us better. Right now, it's offensively. Next year, we're tremendous defensively. I'm
Right.
trying to figure out ways that I can help Coach Miller and our team become better offensively. I think that's an area of the game that we can improve on. So, I mean, that's really my day. And then sprinkled in throughout, you're talking to your players. I mean, I think we do as good a job as anybody in the country at keeping tabs on our players, talking to them every day, and having real relationships with them, understanding what, hey, what are you doing with your girlfriend? Are you hanging out? You going on a date? Hey, how's that class going? How was that chemistry test? Like, I think we do a really good job of understanding their lives and having a real relationship with them, not just hey, scratch the surface relationship where you don't really understand the player, what makes them tick.
Gosh. Tell us the importance in your role, but in any role, of having a good team around you.
Man, that's a fantastic point. Like, from my seat as operations, like I said, there's so many different things that go into that role. There's no way that I could do them by myself. So we have assistant coaches helping with the operations at times. Our graduate assistants, we're really fortunate to have 3 of them on our staff, and they just do a terrific job of keeping some tasks off my plate. So if a player needs a ride somewhere, hey, they know that they don't even have to contact me. They can handle that. If they have to do a reimbursement, they purchased a meal, they're going to knock it out. So I think it's really important to have that unity as a staff, just like you talk about with teams all the time. They have to have a common purpose.
Right.
Well, we know what our common purpose is as a staff, and everybody's pulling in the same direction every single day. So, I mean, I wouldn't be able to do my job without the rest of our staff, and coach wouldn't be able to coach the team without the rest of the staff, because if he was doing everything that we have to do on a daily basis, he would never get an opportunity to think about our team and actually coach basketball. So to have a good staff in college basketball, I think, is as important as anything for your success as a program.
So if someone's out there and they're listening to this and they think that sounds like a role for me, what would you suggest be their next steps into pursuing that?
Yeah, well, I tell this to a lot of people. It's somewhat of a crazy profession, because normal times you're working 14, 16-hour days during the season. And I mean, a lot of times after games, home games as well, we're not going to get home until 2, 3 a.m. because we're going to we're going to watch the tape after every game as a staff. And we're going to break down every single play, every single player on every single play. It's going to be that detailed. So that's just an example of the passion that you need to have about the game of basketball. And you can't fake it. You can't fake it at UNCG. If you don't have a passion for the game, it's going to show up in your work. So I think if you don't have a burning desire and passion for basketball and young people, it's probably really difficult to do. But the first step, I think, is just to get your hands in basketball, whether it's coaching AAU, coaching a rec league, coaching camps, and then at the same time trying to expand your network and talk to everybody that you know. If you played for a coach, hey, make those people aware that I'm trying to get into coaching. I think that's as important as anything. It's just making your network aware, hey, I'm looking for an opportunity in college basketball. I think that would be my advice to young people trying to get into coaching.
Well, Tom, we definitely appreciate you coming on the show today. I wanted to tell the folks out there we have another great week ahead next week, so everyone stay tuned. But Tom, we appreciate your insights. Are there any parting words you want to give the folks?
Nick, I appreciate you having me on. It's been a pleasure, and I hope to see everybody out at a UNCG basketball game next year. Granted, they happen. I mean, we're crossing our fingers now, but hopefully in November we're opening up, and hopefully we'll see a lot of your faces at the games.
That's right. Gosh, well, thank you again. It's been amazing. We've learned so much, and we definitely appreciate it. We wish everyone out there a wonderful, happy, and healthy evening. Good night.